verifying your story.
The edge. A dark figure very low to the ground, kind of scraping along the front here.
Hello, I'm your host, Rusty Bonet, and tonight on Hidden in Plain View, I'm at the house of Jim, who claims he was abducted and forced to play at an alien music festival.
Well, thanks, Rusty, for having me on your show. I'd say abducted is not quite the right word for it.
But what did happen then?
Okay, well, it was the 80s, and I got this phone call saying my band was invited to play at this big festival, and we weren't that famous at the time, the band Grimly Fiendish, kind of experimental noise. But I asked him when and where this festival was.
So this happened in the 80s. Why haven't we heard about this before now?
Well, saying that I was invited to play on a alien planet for some intergalactic music festival, no one was going to believe me. But there's some stuff that's going to happen in about a week, which will verify my story.
Wow, that's exciting. Do you have any recordings from this music festival?
Yes. We were given some recordings. The quality is mediocre because of the different time scales and the weird frequencies and just emanations from some of these other bands, which were, other bands from different planets. Why don't I play one now?
That would be great.
All right. So these guys were pretty cool. They're like insectoid-looking things, and they don't play instruments. They use their wings and make these kind of like crickets or something. Apparently this is some traditional mating song.
How did you get to this other planet?
Well, when I got the phone call and they were hinting eventually that, yes, it was an intergalactic music festival, which made me really skeptical. They said, well, to prove our powers, they said, walk over to my guitar, and the amplifier just turned on and the guitar just started making noise. And then some voices that were sure illegible started coming out of the amp. And so I started to think this might be true. Yeah. And so then eventually we were told to go to this one spot out in the woods, and this intergalactic doorway would show up. We had some minimal gear with us, and we went through the doorway, and we were on a spaceship. I got footage of that too. And then in this whole festival.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it was really something. So this is what it looked like when we got out of the ship.
That's so wacky.
Yeah, pretty freaking amazing, really.
Were you scared?
Yeah, I'd say we were all pretty nervous, but I mean, they seemed cool. This is the MC. It was his home world. They tend to do them on oxygen-based planets when they can, or when it's their turn. I think his name is something like, but that could be wrong. Here's a bit of opening set. Pretty wild. Like a lot of the beings, he can just do this by himself.
What were the accommodations like?
Yeah, the accommodations were pretty nice, actually. They'd done a survey of some of our TV shows to see what we might like. Here's the living room. The rest of it's behind it. There's also our green room. It was pretty close to the venue.
What were the other bands like? Did you play with the other bands?
Well, they were all pretty different. This guy was kind of spooky looking, but he turned out to be really friendly. His name was something like Wubba 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 Wubba. I don't know. We just called him Wubba. Here's a bit of the end of his set, and then John came on stage and joined him for a little bit. Oh yeah, they gave us these cool glowing tickets to get around the venue and on stage and in the green room. Check it out.
Wow.
This being was cool. He couldn't take the oxygen atmosphere, so he brought his own. Well, I don't know if it's a he, but it was pretty cool.
I can't believe this music.
Since Earth was new to the Party Planet Festival, they had us do the closing show. So this is us with some random stuff we made up on the spot as usual. Yeah, and then he joins us at the end. yeah, I said there was some exciting news. Well, the organizers asked if Grimly Fiendish would host it for the next one coming up, and I said sure. So in about a week, we're going to start seeing some spaceships up in the sky. That should cause quite a ruckus, I reckon.
Okay, that's our show. Tune in next week for a discussion of if aliens really exist. Oh, I guess that's pointless.
Morse code in the lava land, hidden messages in the air, static transmission, subliminal, calling us to party planet. We're on a trip to the party, the planet's a trip. We're on a trip to the planet, the party's a trip. We're on a trip to the party, the planet's a. Load our stuff into the satellite, grease the gears with some homegrown gum. Launch it off with an echo box, fungus fuels the orbital octolith. We're on a trip to the party, the planet's a trip. We're on a trip to the planet, the party's a trip. We're on a trip to the party, the planet's a. The waste unit is acting up, sulking slug is temperamental. Frequency keeps drifting, brick at the helm of an